Welcome to US Briefing. Lib Dems commit to pensions triple lock in challenge to Tories. Telegraph. The UK's Liberal Democrats have announced that they will commit to keeping the pensions triple lock beyond the next election. The party's leader, Sir Ed Davey, stated that the Conservatives and Labour have caused huge anxiety among pensioners by refusing to clarify their position on the policy. The triple lock ensures that pensions rise in line with inflation, wages, or 2.5%, whichever is highest. The Liberal Democrats hope that their commitment to the policy will help them win seats in the so-called Blue Wall in the next general election. Government faces backlash after slashing climate budget. The Guardian. The Swedish government is facing a huge backlash, including threats of no-confidence votes against its climate minister, after slashing the country's climate budget while admitting that it will dramatically increase carbon dioxide emissions. The minority-run coalition, which has been in power for just under a year, announced on Wednesday it would be cutting funding for climate and environmental measures next year by 259 krona, £19 million, and introducing tax cuts on petrol and diesel. Live, Zelensky takes part in wreath-laying ceremony at Pentagon. The Independent. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visited the U.S. Pentagon on September 21 as part of his visit to Washington. He was welcomed by U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin. Zelensky also met with Senate Majority Leader Charles E. Schumer and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy at the U.S. Capitol before heading to the White House for a meeting with President Joe Biden. The purpose of Zelensky's visit is to secure U.S. support for Ukraine, as some Republicans are questioning the continuation of financial aid to Ukraine in its fight against Russian forces. House Foreign Affairs Chairman Michael McCaul stated that lawmakers needed confidence in a clear strategy for victory in Ukraine. McCarthy gives in to right flank on spending cuts, but they still deliver a defeat as shutdown looms. The Independent. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's plan to prevent a federal government shutdown by appeasing his hard-right colleagues has failed. A test vote to advance a defense funding bill was defeated, with a few Republicans joining Democrats to stop it. This latest defeat highlights the growing influence of hard-right conservatives within the Republican Party and their disregard for their own House majority. A federal shutdown is looming if Congress cannot pass the necessary bills to fund the government by September 30. Nvidia, other U.S. chip stocks stall over valuation, industry worries. The Globe and Mail. Shares of Nvidia and other U.S. semiconductor companies have lost momentum after a strong start to the year. The Philadelphia SE Semiconductor Index rose over 50% through July, with Nvidia's shares tripling in 2023 as the company's market value surpassed $1 trillion. However, the SOX Semiconductor Index is down over 7% this month, while Nvidia shares have declined more than 14% in September. Rising treasury yields, high valuations and industry-specific issues, such as ongoing U.S.-China tensions, are among the factors weighing on the industry. Sophie Turner sues Joe Jonas to return their two daughters to England. The Independent. Actress Sophie Turner has filed a lawsuit against her estranged husband, musician Joe Jonas, demanding the return to England of their two young children. The couple, who were married in 2019, moved to England in 2023 so the children could attend school there. However, tensions in their relationship resulted in Turner remaining in England to film a TV drama while Jonas went on tour in the US. Jonas has now filed for divorce, but Turner claims he is preventing the children from returning to the UK by withholding their passports. Tech companies try to take AI image generators mainstream with better protections against misuse. The Toronto Star. Leading tech companies are competing to mainstream the use of text-to-image generators for a variety of tasks, integrating them into familiar tools such as Microsoft Paint, Adobe Photoshop, YouTube and ChatGPT. The companies are also working on stronger safeguards against copyright theft and troubling content to convince consumers, business users and government regulators that they have tamed some of the Wild West nature of early AI image generators. Adobe has released an AI generator, Firefly, that avoids legal and ethical problems by using content from its own Adobe stock image collection. Trump trolls grifter Christie over Beachgate scandal. The Independent. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has used his new social media platform, Truth Social, to troll Chris Christie over the Beachgate scandal. Trump called Christie a grifter and shared images of Christie sunbathing on a beach during a government shutdown in 2017. Trump also called on Republicans to use the power of the purse as Congress faces another potential government shutdown. The U.S. government will face a shutdown if lawmakers cannot pass funding bills or a resolution to continue funding the government at FY 2023 levels. Republicans are divided over funding for border security and aid for Ukraine. 2 Chainz says joint Lil Wayne album is done, talks new Amazon Music live season. The Toronto Star. Rapper 2 Chainz has announced that he will be releasing a joint album with Lil Wayne, titled Colagrove 2, before the end of 2023. The album has been teased since 2020 and will be the follow-up to their 2016 collaboration. 2 Chainz revealed that the album is already mixed and getting mastered, and that they have shot 2 music videos and a photo shoot. He also stated that the album will feature high-level rap and collaborations with Benny the Butcher and Usher. Saudi Arabia to enrich own uranium under nuclear deal with US and Israel. Telegraph. Israel is reportedly working with the US on plans to help Saudi Arabia enrich uranium, as part of a broader deal to normalize relations between the two countries. The proposal would make Saudi Arabia the second Middle Eastern country, after Iran, to openly enrich uranium. The plan has caused controversy in Israel, with opposition leaders warning against nuclear proliferation in the region. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has given positive signals about normalization with Israel, but stressed that progress would also require steps towards resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. An end in sight? Striking writers in Hollywood studios resume negotiations for second day. Associated Press. Hollywood studios and striking screenwriters are resuming negotiations in an attempt to end the nearly 5-month dispute that has halted many film and television productions. The Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, representing the industry's studios, streaming services and production companies, and the Writers Guild of America issued a rare joint statement on Wednesday saying they would continue bargaining on Thursday. Anonymous sources have said the writers and industry representatives are near to an agreement, but if a deal is not reached, the strike is likely to continue until the end of the year. The strike is nearing record length, and if it continues through September 30th, it will be the longest in the union's history and the longest Hollywood strike since 1945. Feisty Europe I Solheim Cup dominance after making clever change. The Independent. Suzanne Pettersson, captain of Team Europe in the Solheim Cup, is ready to lead her team to victory against Stacey Lewis's United States. Pettersson, who holds an impressive golfing resume, has a wealth of options at her disposal, including recent Evian Championship winner Celine Boutier and 4 other top 20 ranked players. Europe is considered the marginal favorite this year, and Pettersson's calm leadership style has brought the team closer together. Exclusive, India's JSW Steel slows process to buy stake in Canada Teck coal unit source. Reuters. JSW Steel, India's largest steelmaker, is slowing down its efforts to acquire a stake in the steelmaking coal unit of Canada's Teck Resources due to the diplomatic spat between the two countries. The deterioration of trade ties between India and Canada follows the expulsion of each other's diplomats after a dispute over the murder of a Sikh separatist leader in Canada. The acquisition of a Canadian company by a foreign company is subject to a national security review. JSW Steel has been in talks with investment banks, including Standard Chartered and Deutsche Bank, to secure funding for the transaction. Second Circuit affirms bankruptcy court decision finding actual fraudulent transfer and breach of fiduciary duty. Reuters. Lynn Tilton, the sole director and indirect owner of Transcare Corporation, has been found to have breached her fiduciary duties to the company and caused other entities she owned to engage in an actual fraudulent transfer of Transcare's assets. The Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed the rulings of the lower courts, finding that Tilton acted with fraudulent intent and upheld the damages awarded to Transcare's estate. The court also confirmed that a finding of fraudulent intent in a fraudulent transfer case should be reviewed for clear error, rather than de novo. The decision provides guidance on the badges of fraud that courts look to when assessing intent in a fraudulent transfer case. Tilton, a private equity investor, was the sole director of Transcare Corporation. She controlled the company's significant financial and operational decisions. The court found that Tilton's actions were not fair dealing and that she failed to obtain the highest value reasonably available for the company's assets. Tilton relied on book value to determine the value of the assets transferred, which the court deemed an inadequate valuation methodology. The court also rejected Tilton's argument that the district court erred in using going concern value instead of liquidation value to assess the sale price of the collateral. The court also found that Tilton's actions met the badges of fraud criteria, providing strong circumstantial evidence of her fraudulent intent. These badges include the lack of consideration, the close relationship between the parties involved, the retention of possession and benefit of the property, and the financial condition of the party sought to be charged. The court held that a finding of fraudulent intent should be reviewed for clear error, joining other circuit courts in their approach. This decision provides important guidance for courts reviewing fraudulent transfer cases, establishing a clear standard of review and outlining the factors to consider when assessing intent. Nigeria's Tinubu urges UN to help curb exploitation of Africa's resources. Reuters. Nigerian President Bola Tinubu has called on the United Nations, UN, to take a more active role in addressing poverty, security, and illicit resource extraction in Africa. Tinubu met with UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres during the UN General Assembly in New York. Tinubu highlighted the issue of malign actors engaging in illicit activities, such as resource smuggling and weapons trafficking, which exploit Africa's mineral wealth and undermine stability. Tinubu urged the UN to become a proactive coordination center and called for effective collaboration in addressing poverty and security issues. Guterres acknowledged the need for comprehensive reform within the UN to address institutional weaknesses and improve decision-making power for developing nations. In his speech at the UN General Assembly, Tinubu criticized military coups in West Africa and pledged to support the re-establishment of constitutional order in Niger. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.